Welcome to Hired in IT. Our mission is simple: help you build the skills that employers actually want. Whether you're trying to land your first IT job, switch careers, earn a promotion, or increase your salary, we're here to help. Every video is thoroughly researched and designed to make complex IT topics easy to understand. If there's an IT topic you'd like us to cover, leave a comment below. We may turn your suggestion into our next video. Turning IT knowledge into career opportunities. Studies show 32% of cloud spend is wasted, and 12% of organizations blow past their budgets. In 2026, an architect who ignores FinOps isn't just costing the company money, they're putting their career at risk. The bill won't ask permission to arrive. The old cloud architect centered everything on scaling and uptime, kept costs at arm's length, and patched security after the fact. In 2026, you're designing with FinOps and governance from day one, running multi-cloud by default, owning unit economics, and embedding zero trust with AI compliance into every decision. That's not a promotion, it's a different job. Industry data reveals that, on average, 32% of cloud spend is wasted, and 12% of organizations exceed their budgets. But here's the upside. Adopting FinOps practices like right-sizing and reserved instances can cut costs by 20 to 30%. Those numbers should make every architect's neck hair stand up. A single cloud strategy in 2026 is a dead end. Vendor lock-in, pricing volatility, and compliance gaps kill agility. The real play is a central governance plane. Think policy engines and identity fabric that enforces the same rules across AWS, Azure, and GCP. Without it, you're just juggling chaos with 3 different billing dashboards. The modern cloud architect wears 5 hats. You're a governance engineer baking policy into infrastructure, a FinOps advocate who tracks every dollar, a security orchestrator spanning clouds, a systems designer building resilient architectures, and, most surprisingly, a business translator who can explain trade-offs to finance and executive teams. Communication isn't a soft skill here. It's what keeps your designs funded and your job safe. The old world used manual approval chains that turned into bottlenecks and forced teams to work around them. The 2026 approach is guardrails, not gateways. You write policies in code, using Open Policy Agent or Terraform Sentinel, and let your CI/CD pipeline enforce them automatically. Developers ship fast, and the system says no the instant a policy breaks. That's how you get compliance at speed. Instead of logging into 3 separate consoles, you can enforce budgets across AWS, Azure, and GCP from a single Terraform configuration. Define provider blocks for each cloud, then declare budget resources, alerts, spending caps, right there. That means your governance code lives in one place and applies uniformly. Stop hopping between portals and let infrastructure as code do the heavy lifting. Integrate this into your CI/CD pipeline so every deployment automatically checks cost guardrails. Manually checking policy compliance across multiple clouds is impossible at scale. That's why CSPM tools like Wiz, Prisma Cloud, and Orca Security now dominate. They automatically detect misconfigurations, monitor for drift, and can even auto-remediate violations in real time. If you're not already running at least one of these across your environments, you're operating with a blindfold on. Managing separate identity silos per cloud is a security nightmare. The recommended fix is a single identity fabric. For example, you can use Microsoft Entra ID as a central identity provider, federating trust with AWS IAM and Azure RBAC, using standard protocols like SAML or OIDC. GCP IAM can also be federated with Entra ID the same way. Check Google Cloud's documentation on workforce identity federation. One source of truth, one governance point, and no more orphaned admin accounts that survive employee offboarding. Forget staring at a total monthly bill and shrugging. The 2026 architect tracks unit economics, exactly how much each 1,000 API calls, each gigabyte transferred, costs over time. As you right-size, shift to spot, and eliminate idle capacity, that line should trend steadily downward. This is how you prove your architecture decisions are delivering real business value, not just consuming budget. Here's a synthetic view of what a multi-cloud right-sizing dashboard looks like. You scan your environment across AWS, Azure, and GCP. The tool identifies instances with near-zero CPU utilization. In many real-world environments, those wasted resources can cost thousands a month. With one click, you downsize to a matching instance family and lock in the 20 to 30% savings that FinOps studies report. Schedule recurring scans to keep your infrastructure lean without manual drudgery. Tools alone won't save you. Culture is what makes costs stick. Start with real showback. Every team must see what they spend. Next, make cloud cost a sprint review KPI, just like uptime or bugs. Add a cost estimate comment to every pull request so engineers see the dollars before they merge. And the non-negotiable, mandatory resource tagging with cost center and environment. No tag, no deploy. Consider a startup with a growing cloud bill. Without FinOps, as much as 32% of their spend could be wasted on idle resources and over-provisioning. A FinOps investigation uncovers these waste areas, turning potential monthly savings into hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. The architect who added cost visibility didn't just save money, she became essential. In 2026, cost accountability is not a finance function, it's an architecture function. The FinOps lifecycle is a loop, not a one-time project. Inform means you get complete visibility. Where does every dollar go? Optimize is where you right-size, use spot instances, and eliminate waste. Operate turns those savings into a habit with continuous alerts and accountability. Then you loop back to inform and start again, because cloud spend never stops changing. The inform phase starts with raw visibility. Native tools like AWS Cost Explorer, Azure Cost Management, and GCP Billing give you the data in each provider's dialect. Then platforms like Cloud Health and Cloudability pull everything into one place. But here's the game changer, the focus standard. It translates every provider's cryptic billing into a unified format so you can actually compare costs across clouds and make decisions that stick. Different optimization tactics deliver wildly different results. Right-sizing alone saves 20 to 30% on average. Committed use in spot instances can cut costs by 30 to 90%, though spot requires fault-tolerant workloads. Automated scaling trims another 15 to 25% by matching capacity to demand. And smart multi-cloud arbitrage, shifting workloads to the cheapest provider for the same spec, adds another 10 to 20%. Stack them, and the margins change the business. The operate phase is about making cost governance boring and automatic. In AWS budgets, you can create a simple monthly budget, say $5,000 for your development account. Then set an alert at 80%, so when spend hits $4,000, the team gets an email instantly. No more surprise invoices, the alert fires while there's still time to fix it. This one screen, set up in 10 minutes, is the difference between proactive and reactive cloud cost management. The first 3 months are about awareness, not deep savings. You start by reading a real cloud bill, not the summary, the actual line-by-line CSV export. Then tag every resource. If you can't tag it, you can't track it. Next, find your top 5 cost drivers. In many accounts, a few services consume the bulk of the money. And the career-changing moment. Block one expensive pull request by simply asking, what will this cost us per month? That's how you go from cost-blind to cost-aware. Now you move from awareness to action. Right-sizing is the fastest win. Most non-production instances are sized for a load they'll never see. Add storage lifecycle policies, so data automatically tiers down to cheaper storage after 30 days. Shift all your staging and CI/CD workloads to spot instances. They're interruptible by design, so the discount is massive. And finally, purchase your first savings plan. Start by covering your most predictable, steady-state workloads, then layer on spot for the rest to maximize discounts. Automation is where FinOps becomes invisible and undeniable. This GitHub Actions workflow triggers on every pull request. It runs infracost against your Terraform plan and posts a comment right on the PR with the estimated monthly cost change. A developer sees that adding a new NAT gateway adds $80 a month before they merge. That feedback loop turns cost into a design consideration, not a surprise bill at the end of the month. Once you've automated cost feedback into CI/CD, you're ready for the final stage, becoming a true cloud financial manager. In months 16 to 24, you lead monthly FinOps reviews with engineering leadership, presenting data, not opinions. Then you build chargeback models so every department sees their actual cloud spend. Next, you may explore enterprise agreements with AWS, Azure, and GCP to lock in volume discounts. And crucially, forecast cloud spend within 5% variance. At this level, you're not just managing costs, you're steering the company's financial strategy. Time for a quick checkpoint. Pause the video and see if you can name the 3 phases of the FinOps lifecycle before I reveal them. Coming up in 3, 2, 1. The 3 phases are inform, gaining full visibility into spend, optimize, right-sizing and eliminating waste, and operate, embedding continuous accountability. It's a loop you'll run monthly. Picture this. Your e-commerce site launches a flash sale. Instead of keeping expensive VMs running around the clock, you configure AWS EventBridge to trigger an auto-scaling action the instant the sale goes live. Servers spin up to handle the traffic surge, then scale back down as demand drops. You pay only for the compute you actually use. You can set this up with a put rule targeting a CloudWatch alarm on CPU utilization. This pattern slashes idle costs and keeps the site responsive during spikes. The bottom line, event-driven scaling turns unpredictable traffic into a managed, cost-efficient flow. Here's the idle cost killer, comparing always-on EC2 instances to a serverless stack. On the left, you pay for every second the VM is alive, even at 1 a.m. with zero traffic. You over-provision for that worst-case peak. On the right, API Gateway and Lambda scale per request and can drop to zero cost when nothing's happening. For bursty workloads, that difference can significantly reduce idle costs, especially when combined with right-sizing practices that already save 20 to 30%. Use the AWS pricing calculator to model your own workload and see the actual numbers. To truly close the gap between engineering and finance, you need artifacts that stick. First, add a mandatory cost impact section to your architecture decision records. Every design choice gets a price tag. Second, lock in a quarterly review where you present unit economics, like cost per transaction, to engineering leadership. Third, pipe cost anomaly. Alerts directly into a Slack channel so the whole team catches budget surprises in real time. These 3 habits turn cloud cost from a monthly surprise into a daily conversation. The carbon intensity of cloud regions varies dramatically, by more than a factor of 10, depending on the local energy mix. A hydro-dependent region emits a fraction of what a coal-heavy one does. Choosing a cleaner region like Oregon over a coal-heavy one slashes your carbon footprint and often lowers cost too. That dual win is why GreenOps is now a core pillar of modern cloud architecture. AWS provides a built-in carbon footprint tool, accessible right from the cost management console in the billing section. It's quick to get started. Head there, set the time range to the last 6 months to see long-term trends, and you'll get a breakdown by service, S3, EC2, and more. You'll also see a monthly trend chart that shows if your footprint is shrinking. AWS transparently reports the renewable energy blend for each region. Use that data for your ESG reports and to guide your region selection. Spending 10 minutes a month reviewing this can keep your cloud choices aligned with sustainability goals. Avoiding lock-in means your workloads should be able to move between clouds. A service mesh like Istio provides a unified control plane that spans an Amazon EKS cluster and a Google GKE cluster. Both clusters register with Istio, which then handles service discovery, mutual TLS encryption, and traffic routing across them. The result? An application that can run on either cloud without a complete rewrite, and FinOps gets the leverage to shift workloads where it's cheapest or most sustainable. Edge computing brings compute closer to users, but it also creates cost and compliance blind spots. Here, IoT devices send data to AWS Wavelength and other edge platforms, like those from Azure. Without a central governance hub, Each edge node becomes a tiny silo with its own billing and security posture. By connecting them back to a unified governance plane, you enforce tagging, monitor spend in real time, and apply zero-trust policies, turning a potential cost control nightmare into a monitored, governed edge. Start by extending your existing cloud governance toolchain to edge locations. A phased rollout with a pilot node will build confidence. Your architecture choices directly shape your cloud bill. 4 patterns deliver fiscal elasticity out of the box. Event-driven processing fires code only when something happens. Zero spend otherwise. CQRS splits read-heavy paths from write-heavy ones so you can scale each independently. Serverless functions genuinely scale to zero. And containerized microservices let you right-size each component to its real usage instead of over-provisioning a monolith. Stack these patterns and you'll build systems that breathe with demand rather than bleeding cash. Here are the 5 most expensive multi-cloud mistakes, with the fix for each one. First, jumping into multi-cloud without a strategy. You need workload placement criteria and governance rules before you migrate anything. Second, ignoring egress costs. Data transfer fees between regions and providers are shockingly easy to overlook. Model them first, or your savings disappear. Third, keeping cloud teams in silos. A central cloud center of excellence with shared standards cuts this chaos. Fourth, neglecting FinOps until the bill lands. Tagging, showback, and cost-aware design. From day one, keep you off that list of the 12% of teams that blow their budget. Fifth, treating multi-cloud as just more of the same. The operational surface area multiplies. Invest in training and managed services early. A phased approach turns governance from a panic project into a repeatable capability. Start with assessment. 1 to 2 months to define strategy and inventory workloads. Next, foundation. 2 to 3 months to deploy core IAM policy and cost tools. Then a pilot. 2 to 3 months to validate governance on low-risk workloads. Scale over 3 to 6 months, bringing production workloads under control. Finally, optimization becomes an ongoing cycle. Think of it as a continuous loop, not a one-time project. Each phase delivers a tangible artifact, a validated framework, operational dashboards, and measurable cost savings. You don't need to master all of these tools on day one, but you do need to know which category they belong to. Orchestration lives in Kubernetes and Terraform. Observability leans on Datadog and the Grafana stack. For continuous security posture management across clouds, the top names right now are Wiz, Prisma Cloud, and Orca Security. Cost visibility runs through Cloud Health, Spot.io, and provider-native explorers. Networking gets serious with Aviatrix and Cisco SD-WAN. And when microservices need portable traffic management, Istio's Service Mesh does the heavy lifting. Pick one tool from each column to start. A certification turns the theory into proof you can discuss in an interview. Step 1. Study the free resources on the FinOps Foundation site. That alone gives you a working vocabulary for billing, tagging, and cost attribution. Step 2. Go for the FinOps Certified Practitioner. It's the industry's baseline, and the exam tests real-world scenarios, not trivia. Step 3. The new FinOps for AI credential. This is where the money's going in 2026 because GPU waste is astronomically expensive. And Step 4. Don't just read about it. Spin up a free tier lab on Cloud Zero or Harness and practice building a unit cost dashboard. This is where the industry is heading. A single unified interface that automates workload placement, policy enforcement, and cost optimization across all 3 clouds. Instead of juggling 5 different consoles, architects will define intent and let the platform decide which region and provider is best for latency, compliance, or carbon footprint. The pieces already exist: Terraform, policy as code engines, and consolidated cost platforms. But integrating them into one intuitive control plane is the next big unlock. For now, you can start evaluating tools like Crossplane to manage multi-cloud policies from a single Kubernetes control plane today. It gives you a glimpse of that unified future. This is what the role looks like now. In 2026, A cloud architect isn't just a back-office engineer drawing diagrams. You're standing in a boardroom, translating unit economics and carbon metrics into decisions that affect the whole business. The architects who thrive in this era are the ones who can show a CFO a single slide that connects a red trend line to a specific architectural change, and then explain why sustainability matters for the next enterprise contract. That blend of technical fluency and business storytelling? That's the real career accelerator. This month, try this. Take a cost savings analysis you've done or learned about and present it to a non-technical stakeholder, your manager, a friend in finance, or even just record yourself explaining it. That practice bridges the gap between technical know-how and business storytelling. If you're ready to take your cloud architect career from theory to practice, click the link in the description and grab the free Hired in IT Career Roadmap. It breaks everything down into a concrete step-by-step skill plan, the exact certification paths that matter in 2026, and a tools checklist tied to each stage. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just an actionable map that moves your career forward. Grab it now and start building. Remember, careers aren't built by watching videos. They're built by applying what you learn. Pick one thing from today's lesson, build it, document it, and share it. That's how you get hired. Thanks for watching Hired in IT, where we're turning IT knowledge into career opportunities.